Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and of course we're going to talk about the big announcement from the dev blog yesterday. I'm sorry that I'm a little late getting this up, but my upload schedule and just the nature that I have to record videos, I'm always going to be about a day behind any news, unfortunately. So, submarines are coming to the game. We're going to talk about how they're implementing them and what their potential role could be. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and just jump right in. So, I'm gonna read again, like the last news video I did. I'm gonna read straight off of the Warships development blog page, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. So here we go. ST submarines. So I'm assuming that's super test. Back in 2018, many of you have participated in the operation called Terror of the Deep. This event allowed everyone to try a new class in our game, Submarines. By the end of the event, it became clear that our players are highly interested in submarines and we should be engaged in full development. And now we are happy to announce that the first stages of closed testing will begin shortly, where the new gameplay of submarines will be tested. The American and German submarines will be the pioneers of the new class. After the super test submarines will be available for... After the super test submarines... I think they forgot a comma in here somewhere. After the super test comma, submarines will be available for players to try on a special server before being added to the main game client. Once introduced, the new class will initially be available in a special separate battle type only, and this final configuration stage will last for several months. This will allow us to make additional changes to the new class under the conditions of the live server. We will be sharing more details with you shortly. Follow our official game channels for more news. Alright, so they didn't give too many details on the submarines other than the Americans and Germans will be the pioneer class for the nations for this class. So, right off the bat, it sounds like they have learned from the blunder of the CV rework, and they are going to, do closed testing for the submarines for, I imagine, several months, and then they are going to add them to the game. But they will only be available in a special game mode initially, and then after they're in their own words several months, they then will be added to the main game. So I'm glad that's happening. They are taking their time with testing, and they're not going to just chunk them into the live server until they are good and happy with the balance of the class. So that's wonderful news right there, because submarines, of course, I don't know if this game was ever intended to, have submarines in it. They are obviously going to change quite a few things once they get added. Now, the big difficulty I see is, well, how many of these suckers are they going to allow in a battle? Are they just going to allow one or two per side? Or can you have, a team that's half of them are submarines? I can imagine once these submarines go live, there's going to be quite a few people that are going to jump in them right away. So I don't know. I would hope that they would limit it to one or two, because having 4 submarines running around per team, I think that can be a little bit much. Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to balance the submarine class. I mean, because the ability to just, completely undetected launch torpedoes at, whomever, that's really, really strong. That's a really, really strong ability for them. Now, of course, the spotting too, because if I remember in the Halloween operation, you were almost nigh undetectable when you were at periscope depth. I think you had a detectability radius of like 3 kilometers, which is only 1 kilometer more than assured detected. And that's another thing. Will assured detected work for submarines? I can imagine. If they're going to implement for submarines, I would think even if they're at periscope depth, assured detected would still work. If they're under the water, however, I guess not. But, I mean, they had a pretty good mechanic down with the Halloween event, with the limited air supply. You can only stay under for so long, which I think, again, is a good thing. And submarines, they weren't the fastest ships ever. in that mode, nor in real life where they're really that fast under the surface. They have to surface and activate their diesel engines to really get going. Well, I guess they could have ran off the batteries on the surface going max speed, but that probably would have drained those batteries pretty dang fast. So we'll see how they manage to balance them and such. So the reaction from this has been quite mixed. I mean, just looking at in our own Discord server, and read any of the Facebook comments or blog comments or Reddit or threads or forums. But I'd be hypocritical if I would say they shouldn't be in the game after I said carriers belong in the game because they had a big impact on naval warfare. And the fact of the matter is, submarines did too. So I'm more positive about them being added to the game because I do have that viewpoint of them. They had a big impact during World War II, and still today they are still a huge part of any navy. So it would be hypocritical of me to say that I don't think they should be in the game. I do think they can balance them quite well. Like I said, I think maybe only allowing maybe 3 per team if the queue just gets that cramped with them. But I don't think you need to have teams where a third of the team is submarines. That might take away from the surface combat too much at that point. But obviously, destroyers and cruisers are going to have depth charges. Now, the thing is, too, it's going to be how deep can hydroacoustic search go, because hydroacoustic search has a certain range, but now they're going to have to detail all the bottoms, all the bottom of the sea floors for all the maps. So it's going to be now how deep can hydro go. I would assume that, well, I mean, I don't think they're going to make the maps 5 kilometers. Well, they may make the maps 5 kilometers deep. Who knows? I was thinking about the grosser curve versus hydro range. So I would imagine it would either have to be like if the radius of the hydro is 5 kilometers out, it also have to be 5 kilometers down. That's what I'm going to assume they're going to do. That would seem to be the most logical thing to do. And of course, man, I wonder if they're going to give all surface ships depth charges. I don't think battleships had depth charges. I could be wrong. At least none. Well, they might have. I actually don't know because I've never looked that up. And I've been to like 4 battleships in real life. But I'm gonna assume all the depth charges. I mean, you can look at a lot of the destroyers in game. The depth charges are modeled onto the ship. I guess they're just going to animate and make those a reality now. That's gonna be really interesting if you're going to actually like set the depth charges on your submarine or on your cruiser. That actually sounds pretty cool. And our submarine's going to get more submarines. Our destroyer's going to get even more anti-submarine devices like the Hedgehog, which is basically like a bunch of grenades that would launch. Well, large grenades that would launch in a. They were in kind of like a circle formation around where the destroyer thought the submarine was at, and it would, they would surround the submarine, sink down a little bit, then detonate. Or our destroyers are going to get more tools like that. Is hydro going to become more readily available? And then for submarines, are submarines going to get some type of active sonar maybe that they can use to ping locations of that they use? Oh my English is just so bad today. I'm sorry, guys. That they can use to ping and see where ships are at, but then that's going to reveal them to the entire map. Is ramming submarines going to do that much damage to your ship? Because that was a tactic in World War II. He just rammed the sucker. This is going to be interesting. I'm kind of excited for it. I completely understand why people are worried, but again, they're going to go through their own closed testing. Then they're going to be in their own special game mode once they come out. So at least Wargaming has learned, and I think they're handling this implementation much better than the carrier rework. So, thank you Wargaming for learning your lesson and handling this differently and going a bit slower with it. I, for one, appreciate it, and I'm kind of excited. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of excited for submarines. It's going to add a new dynamic to the game. I wonder if they're going to animate the rudders turning now, because I know the propellers for all the ships turn, but the rudders don't turn when you shift. So I'm wondering if they're going to animate that now. That'll be another cool detail that they're going to have to add to the game. That, well, I'm going to assume they're going to add it, because it's going to be kind of weird sailing underneath a ship and just seeing it magically turn and the rudder's not moving. But I think this is a good move because it's adding more variety to the game. It's adding another class for us to play with and to grind through. And add in the circle for gaming. Just do it, please, 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 please. Yeah, the circle for my top 5 future premium ships video, the original one. I would like to see that get added to the game. And ironically, also they have announced the addition of the California, which was a Tennessee class battleship that, I said the Tennessee should have been added in the last top 5 premium ships video, but now the California's coming out, which is pretty much the same thing as the Tennessee. But anyway, so that is the submarines. That is all the news that we have about them right now. I'll keep you guys updated as Wargaming announces more and more news. Again, we really don't know any idea of how the class is going to play in the game, besides what we have from the Halloween event. But other than that, everything else is just speculation. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Also, hope to catch some of you guys here tonight on the channel. I am live streaming here from 5 p.m. U.S. Central until 8 p.m. U.S. Central. So be sure to come out for that. Alright, guys, if you liked the video, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And I hope to catch all of you guys in the next one.